Hello, everybody. Um, yeah, long time no see. I haven't uploaded in a couple of days, but I've been busy, a little bit busier with my life recently, so I haven't really been able to do those whole daily uploads. Just kind of took a little bit of a step back from the channel, just kind of realizing where I need to put my time. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. I think that that's perfectly fine. Not that I have to justify myself, but hey, we're going to be doing a tier list of every single current special illustration rare as of Temporal Forces. So there will not be Twilight Masquerade special illustration rares included in this because their pictures don't load. Um, so we're just going to be going off of the ones that we have so far, and this list can update with Twilight Masquerade happening in the future. Hold on, one second. Okay, yeah, so I'll probably update this list sometime whenever Twilight Masquerade actually officially releases. But for now, this is going to be my list. So let's get right into this. And there will be some controversial opinions in terms of pricing. If we're just going off of pricing, yeah, this is going to get really controversial really quickly because this is just about the artwork. So don't get too mad when I place some super cheap card over a very expensive card just because I like the artwork more. Anyways, I digress. Let's just get it right into this. Okay, so the first four cards that I have pulled up here are the Mew alt art from Paldean Fates. I have the actually I don't have the Iron Crown pulled up. Anyways, let's just talk about the Mew from not for 151. Oh my goodness, from Paldean Fates. So this baby shiny Mew, illustrated by USG Men, who is a very prominent like Instagram artist, and this is their first this is their debut card. And for a debut card, this card is fantastic. I mean, I've seen it in videos and stuff like that, and I know that it looks really, really nice in person. And I think this card this looks really, really, really great. Like honestly, I don't think there's a single bad thing about this card. I think it's just cute, and it works for Mew because it's just a cute card. There's a bunch of derpy little Pokemon in the foreground, and then there's the shiny Mew in the middle. I mean, it's like it's cool. People call it the Bubble Mew. I think it's pretty cool. Put it in A tier just for now, so we can get this list situated a little bit. I'm pretty sure that these will change around a little bit, but we'll get there when we get there, right? Let's see here. We have one second. All right, and now we have the Iron Crown from Temporal Forces. So this card is illustrated by Nagimiso, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. I really love how the Pokemon is designed in this card. The heavy use of shading is really nice. The pink trees contrasting off of the Cobalt Pokemon looks really, really nice. You have like little glowing neon, and then you have like this really, really cool like dark like green, kind of yellowish hued moon, and then like irradiates the area around it. Mixed with like that future border, I think it makes the card just all come together really nicely. And I really, really enjoy the card a lot. So I'm gonna put this one in A tier as well. I mean, like I said, I kind of want to figure out where I want to put this list first, and then yeah, but I do personally prefer the Iron Crown over the Bubble Mew, and that's just a personal thing. Next, we've got Iono. Where's Iono at? So Iono is going to be from Paldea Evolved, illustrated by Kirisaki. Very prominent artist. They get a lot of cards. I kind of like how the Rotom phone is like peering out of the border here. There's a lot of stuff going on in the card, which is cool. Iono's not personally my favorite trainer of all time, so it's not really like I don't really have any personal attachment to this character or anything like that. And the artwork is perfectly fine. It's perfectly serviceable, but for me, I personally like the Pokemon typically more than the trainers. If it's a really, really nice trainer card, I'll put it above Pokemon, but like I don't know. It's not that I dislike the card or anything, but I think I'm just gonna put it in B tier for now, just because I like the card, but it's not my favorite. So next we've got the Charizard from 151. This one's done by Miki Kudo. This card is it's a departure from what you'd expect as a Charizard card, right? Like this is not the kind of thing that you'd expect for a Charizard. You'd expect, cool looking, you'd expect menacing, intimidating. This card is everything but that, right? It's cute. It's got a volcano erupting in the background and has Charizard like flying in front of the sun or whatever. Um, I think that the card is cute. I kind of like their simplistic style. I like the deep dark clouds and stuff. And it's still detailed, even though it is simplistic. But I'll definitely put it above the Iono, but I don't know if I put it above the Bubble Mew or the Iron Crown. But our next card, though, is the Charizard from Paldean Fates. So this Charizard is wow, I mean, so my favorite illustrator in the Pokemon TCG is Akira Agawa, and I think they did a fantastic job with this card. I really love the deep colors. I literally just pulled it yesterday, like unironically, like just randomly pulled it. I ordered a couple Poly Fates packs online, and I just opened it just yesterday, and I was so excited because this card it pops in person. It's like this dark black, like deep purple black card, and it's like I don't know, it was just super exciting to pull, and it just made me really happy to get it because I was like, oh, I need that for my personal collection, and I don't know, I didn't have it. It was like one of my first times pulling a top chase card of a set, and I was like, wow, this is really, really awesome. And I really love the flames that are flying out of its mouth and then the deep colors. I think this card is one of my favorite like special illustration rares ever. I mean, like even like in the preview here, you can see like this card stands out. It's black, it's dark, it's like I don't know. The colors are just fantastic on that artwork, my opinion. Next, we've got the Roaring Moon from Paradox Rift. So this card is illustrated by Ryota Murayama, who we'll see later in the list. Pretty relatively recent artist. I like how Roaring Moon is like screaming outwards, and all the ancient Pokemon are kind of like like reacting to it, like Fluttermane is covering itself with its face. I think that's pretty cute. Um, and yeah, the Pokemon is pretty big, pretty intimidating. I like it more than the Iono. I don't know if I like it more than the Charizard though. It's not that I don't like the card at all. It's just I think I prefer the Charizard over the Roaring Moon a little bit. Next, we have the Morty's Conviction. Might as well pull up a couple of these. Morty's Conviction from Temporal Forces by Megumi Mizutani, a very prominent like trainer artist. I think that this card is really cute. I like how Gengar is looking at a Pidgey on the side, and they're coming out of like the shadows underneath the world. Um, I like Morty just like staring at Gengar as it's doing it. It really reminds me of like a trainer gallery card. Like it would be in Sword and Shield if it was like a Gengar V trainer gallery card. I could totally see that with Morty on the card, and I think it looks really cool. I really dig it a lot. It's one of my favorite cards in Temporal Forces, and I think I like it more than the Charizard. So I'm going to put it firmly in A tier. Next, we have the Raging Bolt from Temporal Forces. So the this artist Tezero worked on like all three of the ancient alt arts, so I'll be talking about all of them in the same kind of regards because I think they're all fantastic. This one is not my favorite out of the three, but it is really cool. I like I don't know, I think Raging Bolt's design is kind of cool. It kind of grew on me a little bit. I know that it's like a like oh ah man, why is Raikou so weird now? But like I don't know, I kind of dig it. It's just like the vibe is just it's cool, and I like the like lightning and the thunder clouds in the background. I like the ancient trees. It really makes you feel like you're like trapped in like an old ancient world, and then this like apex predator Pokemon is just like got the sun blaring on it or whatever. I don't know. I think it's a really really neat looking card. Um, yeah, I prefer it over the Morty's Conviction. I don't know if I prefer it over the Bubble Mew. This is a really big barrier of entry right here, the Bubble Mew. Um, Let's see. Next we've got. Oh, okay. This is one of my favorite like cards in the Scarlet and Violet era. So this is the Blastoise from 151. So this one is illustrated by Mitsuhiro Rita. This card is really cool because in person there's like this like swirly like circle thing in the middle, and Blastoise is like in the deep waters. It really makes you like when you have the card in person, it really makes you feel like he's like deep underwater, and he's very menacing. He's very cool. I don't know. I always think that Blastoise doesn't get a lot of love, and then as soon as I think that, Blastoise gets this fantastic artwork in 151 by like the legend himself, Mitsuhiro. It's just really really cool, and I'm happy that he did a Blastoise card and not another Charizard card. This card is firmly in my S tier, 100%, 100%. The colors just pop. Like look at that deep blue. It's just so like striking. Um, but next we have the Charizard from Obsidian Flames. So this one is not as good as the one from Paldean Fates in my opinion. It's a little bit weaker. I think the pose is a little bit kind of weird, almost. I really love the illustration by Akira Gawa. Absolutely nothing against them at all because I love them a lot. Like I love their artwork. Um, but I don't know. There's just something about the pose that kind of rubs me the wrong way, I guess. Um, I like the wings. The wings look really really nice. But I don't know. I just prefer the pose in the Paldean Fates one personally. This one, I think I like it a little bit more than 151 Charizard. But do I like it more than Morty's Conviction? Not really. I'll put it at top of B tier. I think that's fair. And then we have the Gardevoir from Paldean Fates. So this one is really nice. Pulled this one as well. There's a lot of like details in this card. You have like all the flowers and leaves and stuff like that, and then you have the Wooper like with its mouth open in the background, and then a bunch of Pachirisus sleeping on the ground. This one's by a new artist, Kuro Mori. They only have like two cards, so they're very recent artist. But this is a very stunning card. It's like kind of like a teal color around the whole card, which is really nice. It's like this like light blue-ish greenish, almost like a very like light green, and it's all mixed together. It's all blends very well. I think Gardevoir looks really really cool in this card, and I like the shimmers. Like it like casts a bunch of shimmers as it moves its hand around, which is really really cool. I like it more than the Bubble Mew, definitely. Um, I don't know if I like it more than the Iron Crown. Iron Crown might be an S tier for now. I mean, there's a lot of cards for me to go through, so yeah. I'm sorry, this might be a really long video, and I apologize about that. Anyways, next we've got the. I'll just open all four of these. Talk about the Venusaur first from 151 by Yoriyuki Ikegami. I really love the colors on this one, the grass and stuff like that. I think this artist does a fantastic job with like their floral patterns. I think that's why they've been mainly doing like the grass type Pokemon because of their like really really beautiful flowers and like plants and stuff like that that they can do. So I think this card is really great. Definitely at least like an A tier. But I don't know if I like it more than the Bubble Mew. I think this is a really big point of contention here. We'll move down the Iono to C tier. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of cards that touch the D tier, but I don't know. There's just something about the Bubble Mew that really just makes it stand out from a lot of those other cards. It has like a force field around it that's keeping these guys from going up higher. And then next we've got the Walking Wake from Temporal Forces by Tezero. So I actually prefer this one to the Raging Bolt personally. I really like the blue colors. And I like it's like it has blue, it has white, and then it has like pink and yeah, I think those colors work a little bit better. And I just like the environment of this one a little bit better personally. I think it stands out. I just really like blue. Blue is one of my favorite colors, so I think this card is better than the Raging Bolt. But is it better than the Bubble Mew? In my opinion, I think it might be. I think it might be better than the Gardevoir too. Yeah, it's honestly one of my favorite cards in Temporal Forces. Um, but Temporal Force is a pretty stacked set in terms of the just like the artwork alone. I think it's really really great. We have the Gouging Fire by Tezero as well. So this is the final, or we actually, yeah, this is the final card by them for this set. And I just really love this card a lot. I mean, it makes this Pokemon look super intimidating. We don't know anything about him, right? Like he's pretty much brand new in terms of like our his like relevancy. So like we don't have recency bias against him because like I don't think people really care for the new, you know, um the new Pokemon that much. As much as the old ones. I don't think people really care for the remix as much as the original Pokemon, obviously. They're just less accessible. But I do think this card looks really nice. I like the red little blotches, and then you have like the little yellow blotches, and then you have the Pokemon looking right at the camera with like the sun beaming onto it, which is really cool. I don't have this card in person, so I can't really speak on that regard, but I do think it looks pretty nice. And I like the green. Its green is very striking. I'm gonna have to put it above the Raging Bolt, but not as actually I think it's better than the Venusaur personally. Raging Bolt moves down to B. I'll put the Roaring Moon at C. I'm just trying to make the list look a little bit more like flat, I guess. Next we have the uh, uh, um. Oh yeah, the Iron Leaves. So the Iron Leaves is illustrated by Nagimiso. Oops, sorry guys. By Nagimiso. I like the colors in this one. I like the green, but I like the moon as well, especially. And then it has like these like floating like spiky islands or something, which looks really cool, honestly. I think the only thing I don't particularly like about this card is just like almost the angle of the Pokemon. I think it makes it look a little bit strange. Um, I wish it was a little bit more like three-dimensional, like a little bit more tilted over to the right. I don't know how to explain that. That's kind of a weird thing to say. I think everything else in the illustration is perfectly amazing though. Like I love the environment that the Pokemon is in. It's very like dynamic and it's very just interesting, you know? If you want to make a future world, you might as well make it look interesting, right? I think that this card is Man, this is really tough. I think that this card is actually quite nice. I think it's better than the Charizard from 151, better than the Charizard from Obsidian Flames, better than Morty's Conviction. I think it sits like right here, right in the middle. I don't have anything against it. Hold on. Sorry about this, guys. Um, and we're moving on to the second page, so that's how you know things are about to get crazy, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying by that. So let's talk about the Iron Hands first from Paradox Rift. So this card is illustrated by Toshino Aoki, who has quite a few special illustration rares. So we'll see their name a couple times. Out of the couple that they've done, would say this one is probably my favorite. I just like the environment that the Pokemon is in a lot more than some of the other ones that they did. Um, I like the colors. Um, like the brick walls, they're very contrasting to like the grass. And then you have like the Pokemon right here. Not really the focal point of the card, honestly. I would say like the buildings and the bricks are almost more like of a focal point because they're more prominent than the Pokemon is. But he's like breaking through all the walls, so it's like a continuous thing, which is pretty cool. It shows off a personality to Iron Hands that I think we've ever seen before in terms of it's actually doing something in the card, which is pretty cool. Like it's in the middle of breaking through a wall, which is really cool. And this is where we get to the point where it's like it's kind of hard to say whether a card is good or bad, because art is obviously subjective. Um, because some people might like things that I don't like, and some people might not like things that I do like. So I'm putting the Charizard down into C tier. I know that that may seem kind of low, but I have nothing against that card. I think it's perfectly fine. And I might put the Iron Hands in C tier as well, but it's like at the top of C tier in my opinion. And next we have like an absolute banger of a card. So this card is the Zapdos from 151. This card is absolutely beautiful. It might be one of my favorite alt arts from 151 just because of how nice it looks. It looks so like appealing to the eye. It just like there's something about it just so pleasing. Like the colors are so bright, vivid, and just like fantastic on this card. And then you have all three of the legendary birds flying along. It's just like a really really nice card by Shiburingaru. I'm pretty sure that's how you say their name. And like the speed lines are really cool. The card looks fantastic. I mean, it stands out. It really does. I would put it at the top of B tier, maybe even in my A tier, I would say. I think it's better than the Venusaur, but not as good as the Gouging Fire, in my opinion. Next we have the Alakazam, all art from 151. So this card is by Shinya Komatsu. And this card is beautiful. It's so fantastic. There's so many details in it, honestly. You have like clocks, you have like a bunch of books, you have a bunch of glass and pottery and stuff like that. And then you have the sun leaking in through the window. You have Alakazam sitting down on like a suitcase or something as it like moves its spoons with telekinesis. The blue that he uses is just like it's so contrasting, but Alakazam's colors work so well with the environment around it, and I think this card is absolutely gorgeous. It's such a cool card for Alakazam, and I think he deserved a cool card because Alakazam has been, like with the Pokemon TCG and just Pokemon in general for so long. I think I prefer it over the Bubble Mew, honestly, and I would say it's honestly an S tier card. I think it really is that good, in my opinion. It just there's something about it that just stands out in a crowd of other cards. I don't know. I just really like the card a lot. Moving into a bunch of trainers here. So firstly we have the Airy from Temporal Forces. So I have this card in person, and yeah, I think the card looks fantastic. I mean, Airy is a cool character from Scarlet and Violet. Not like the coolest character ever created or anything like that, but I think that the card is really cool. It has Lucario on it, it has Annihilate, Pissimian, and Toxicroak, which is pretty cool. I think that the character is really cool. I really love the pose that they're in. Dom is a really great illustrator. They really captured like the anger and desperation in their face with like it's like clenching their fists in a Pokeball, which is really really cool. I mean, I definitely think it's better than the Iono in my opinion. Um, and I prefer it over the Morty's Conviction, and I might even like I don't know if it's as good as the Raging Bolt though. I don't want to have to move anything into D tier because I don't hate any of these cards. Does D tier mean that I hate it or like I don't know what the ruling for my list is, but we're about to find out. So we have the Miriam from Scarlet and Violet base set by Akira Komiyama. This card is really really cool. I really like the background of the card. I really love the colors that they used for Miriam, and I really like the shadow underneath. The thing that is crazy to me is that Miriam is a trainer that like is pretty like not like super popular or anything like that. Like not really a popular trainer in the slightest. And all the books falling over, like dropping all the books as they trip. I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. You just have like a lot of really cool details in the background. I really love like these color splotches that they did on the card. I think the card is really cool. I think it's like solidly above the Iono. Not that I hate the Iono or anything like that, but I just think I think it's just better. I would just put it like the bottom of B tier because it's not bad. It's not the best card I've ever seen in my life. Next, we have the Iono from Paldean Fates. So I think this one is better than the other Iono, in all honesty. It's not that I hate the other Iono. It's just that I think this one is better. This one's by a newer artist. I think their name is Hanabushi. Um, they're very new. They only have one or two cards. I think they might only have one card. I'm pretty sure this is their only one. And for first card, this card is really fantastic. It looks really good in person. I think the colors on this card are really fantastic. I don't know. I think this card is way more appealing than the other one. No offense to Kirisaki or the other Iono. I just prefer this one, and I like the Pokemon featured in it a lot more. And I just like the colors a lot. I really love the colors of this card. Um, yeah, I think it is like a little bit better than the Airy, in my opinion. Um, I would put it in A tier actually, because I think I really like it a lot. I think I'm doing Venusaur a little bit dirty, so I'm gonna put him up a little bit higher. Just put him right here. Yeah, and then Iona goes top of B. That's fair. That's fair. Um, and next we have, let's see here. Bu-bu-bu-bu-bu-bum. Okay, so Bianca's Devotion from Temporal Forces. This card is by N. Sorry, it's kind of hard to read the name. Whatever. I think that they're the artist that did the Erica from 151. But this card is cool. I don't really care for Bianca personally as a trainer. And I don't really like Musharna either. But it's a cool like throwback to Gen 5 with the Pokemon and the trainer. I like the details in the card. I like the sunlight hitting the rest of the area. It's pretty cool. It's not my favorite card of all time. Mm, I would say I put it like right here. Not that I hate it. I don't hate it and I don't love it. That's the thing. Iron Valiant from Paradox Rift is a really, really awesome card by Kantaro. They're a really good artist, and I just really like a lot of their cards that they've done. I really love how like Iron Thorns looks in this card, which is kind of funny because Iron Thorns is really not like the focal point because Iron Valiant is. But I just like how all the future Pokemon are like posed up. I think it looks really cool. I love the sun that's like glimmering into the camera. I think that's a really cool concept. And it's honestly kind of undervalued for what it is. I think it's really beautiful. I really do like it a lot, and I think it's better than the Roaring Moon for sure. And I kind of prefer it over a lot of these other cards, honestly. Is it better than the Bubble Mew though? I'd say that it is. I prefer it over the Bubble Mew, honestly. And I think it's like a very iconic Pokemon from Gen 9. Like it's like really like Iron Valiant is like one of the coolest Pokemon that they've ever made. It's like a fusion between Gallade and Gardevoir, which is a really cool idea. Speaking of Gardevoir, though, we have the Gardevoir from Scarlet and Violet base set by Jiro Susumu. So this one is part of like a line where they tell a story as it evolves, which is really cool. The Curly and the Ralts, but this one is really, really cool. I actually have this one in person as well. Um, do I prefer it over the one from Paldean Fates? I don't know. I think they're both pretty darn good cards, and I think that they're both really beautiful illustrations. I think I like the colors on the Palladium Fates one a little bit more. But this card is still like it's like a very nice, like safe card that has nothing wrong about it, honestly. I think it's like one of my favorite cards in the Scarlet and Violet era, just because of how like, like it's just very like iconic at this point, in my opinion, for like Scarlet and Violet base set. Because when you think about Scarlet and Violet base set, I think of the Gardevoir for sure. Speaking of cards that are really cool, I think that the Chen Pao is really cool from Paldea Evolved. I really love how like the snow is like swirling around the Pokemon and it's like screaming, howling on top of like a peak of a mountain. You have like these really deep dark blues and whites and these really cool mountains. The Pokemon look super upset. And I just really love Chen Pao personally as a Pokemon a lot. Look at the graph here. It went all the way up from $19 to $26. That's kind of crazy. I'm not really a graph guy, so I don't really care for the graphs all too much, but I think this is a really cool card, and I think people are starting to realize that it's a really cool card. Um, yeah, I think it's really nice. I don't think it's as good as the Raging Bolt. I think it's a really nice looking card though, for sure. We're moving on to some really nice ones here. So the Altaria is by Jiro Susumu. I'm pretty sure we just talked about them recently. I like the colors on this card. It really reminds me of the Iron Valiant with the sun like peeking through the card. But I think that these like bright, like really bright aesthetic colors are really nice for Pokemon cards. I love how like there's a bunch of Wingles flying on the bottom of the card. And I just like how Altaria looks a lot. I like how it's like parting the clouds around it and they're just like all, surrounding the Pokemon. The light colors and the deep sun rays I think it's really, really nice actually. And Altaria is a Pokemon that definitely deserved an all art for sure. I put it like right next to the Zapdos. I think they're very similar and I think that they're very cool. But I think both of them are really cool. Next, we have the Iron Boulder from Temporal Forces. So this is probably my least favorite all art from Temporal Forces, and it has absolutely nothing to do with Nagimuso as an artist, because I love Nagimuso a lot and love a lot of their cards. But I don't know. I just don't care for Iron Boulder too much. I like the environment that it's in for sure. I think that's like a very dynamic thing about it. I just Iron Boulder. I never really liked Terrakion personally. Um, I like the environment that the card is in, so I'll say that it's like right here. I would say it's like right here. It's nothing, not super incredible, but it's not bad at all. Erica's Invitation from 151. This one's by Conan. Oh, their name is Conan Itanda for the Bianca's Devotion. So this Erica's Invitation though. This one's from 151. I like all the colors. Maybe not the colors, but I kind of like the environment that it's in. Like the colors in the glasses and the vials and stuff like that. They're all very different. Um, and Erica looks pretty decent. I mean, and I'm not like the thing is I'm really not a fan of Erica at all. If they gave Brock a special illustration rare, I'd be so down for that. But Erica, I just don't really care for the trainer too much. And that's the thing is like I feel like with a special illustration rare Pokemon, you can kind of make it like. Sorry, I know this is very controversial. I don't know. Is this very controversial? I put Iono at the bottom of my list. I don't know. Is that like super super controversial or something like that? Because I don't know. Um, but I don't have any real personal attachment to Erica or anything like that. Um, so it's just not my favorite. But speaking of a card that's my favorite, Golden Go from Paradox Rift. This card is fantastic. I mean, like I really, really think that Akira Komiyama did a fantastic job with this card. It stands out. Like look at this list. So you can see on this list, there's nothing that stands out more than this Golden Go. The deep yellows, the like black background is super unique, and it connects directly with the Gimme Ghoul, which is really cool. Golden Go is one of the most like it's like a very cool Pokemon from Gen 9. This card stands out. Look at it. Like it like completely stands out from everything else because it's like such a close-up shot of the Pokemon, and it's like this card is an S tier. I don't know, man. There's just something about this card that I just really really love a lot. I think it's better than the Alakazam, but it's not better than the. I mean, I say these are all about the same because they're all really really nice looking cards. But I just think that the Golden Go is like one of my favorite cards from the Scarlet and Violet era because it just shows like you like even if you're an artist that works mainly in like super specific cards, you don't have to because like there's there's like artists that do these super hyper detailed cards, like for example the Iron Crown or the Charizard. But there's also these artists that do these fantastic like more simplistic cards, like the Golden Go, or like even like the Iron Hands or something like that, or the Bubble Mew. The Bubble Mew is really simplistic, but it's a fantastic looking card in my opinion. Okay, we're back. So next we have, let's see here, a couple more. Professor Sada's Vitality from Paradox Rift. It's a really nice looking card by Ryota Murayama. I like all the books that are stacked up, and I like the Palmy and Smoliv that are kind of like stepping, like looking over her shoulder. Um, there's something a little bit strange about her face that I just can't really like, I can't explain. It looks like she has a really big forehead, and there's nothing wrong about that. Um, I kind of prefer Professor Turo as a like as a character, so this card doesn't really speak to me as much as the Professor Turo card does. Um, but it's okay. I don't know if it's as good as the Roaring Moon though. Like that's a thing. The D tier only exists for cards that I can't put into C tier. Like I don't dislike these cards at all. And the thing that I think you're starting to notice is that there's quite a lot of trainers in like the lower tiers. That's just because I kind of prefer Pokemon personally. But that has nothing against these trainers. I think these trainer cards are some really nice looking cards. And I'm sorry, Professor Sawdust Vitality. I don't hate you. I just had to put you in D tier. I'm sorry. It is not against you. It's just for the tier list's sake, okay? Garchomp from Paradox Rift. So this card is another one of those Terra All Arts that we saw with the Charizard. I think this one is way better than some of the other cards that we have seen before. Not like other cards suck, but I'm just saying this card is really nice. I really like it a lot. I love the colors, like the swirling, like water. Oswaldo Cato did a fantastic job with like I don't know. This water just looks very natural. It looks really cool. I really like Garchomp as a Pokemon. Speaking of Garchomp trainer gallery card from Astro Radiance is like a really great artwork, but this one is almost better in my opinion. I don't know. There's something about this card that I absolutely adore, and I feel like I have like I just like really want to put it up in the A tier, and I think that's totally cool. And I don't know, just for tier list sake, I'm gonna put these two in B tier, but I do really like them a lot. No, let me just move this around. Okay, that's better, in my opinion. Um, Garchomp alt art is one of my favorites. That's what I gotta say there. Chiyu from Paldea Evolved by Akiragawa. So this card is bonkers. It's crazy. I love like the leaves, like the plants and stuff like that, and like an underwater vibe with plants and the deep orange sun, like kind of representing that like fire typing. This card is really beautiful. It's really gorgeous. I don't know. It just kind of like it just makes me happy, like just staring at it. This card is just amazing, and Paul de Vault is filled with these beautiful artworks. And I think Akiragawa did a fantastic job with this card. It's definitely, I think I definitely prefer it over their other some of their other cards too, like the Charizard. I prefer it over that. I think it's on the same level as these cards. Is it better than the Bubble Mew? Probably not. A Gouging Fire, you're gonna go down a B tier. I'm sorry. Chi-Yu, really beautiful looking card, and I really like it a lot. Tinkaton from Pale Evolved as well. So this card is by Tika Matsuno. This card is again, it's kind of like the simplistic art style. Not simplistic though. It's not like not detailed. I'm not saying it's not detailed. It's just simplistic compared to other cards. I like the colors. I like how it's like green. And this one is another one of those storyline cards that goes over three cards, which is pretty cool. I like how big the hammer that Tinkaton has is. But Tinkaton is not my favorite Pokemon of all time or anything like that, so I would definitely put it above the C tier cards. Um, but they can sit like at the bottom of B tier for now, I would say. Maybe they would sit at the top of C tier. I think that's fair because I like it more than all these other cards, but I don't like it more than this card. Now we have the Parasol Lady from Paradox Rift. So this is one of my favorite trainer cards in the entire Scarlet and Violet era, just because it's like it's so weird that they would give such a detailed card to like a trainer or that nobody really knows, right? And they gave it a special illustration rare, which is really cool. But I think this card is better than a lot of these other ones. And again, I don't really care for the trainer. I just like the artwork on it a lot. I think I prefer it over the Morty's Conviction. I prefer it over the Airy. I mean, yeah, I prefer it over a lot of these cards. I think I'm gonna move the Raging Bolt up. Every time I see it down there, I'm like, it does. I don't think it should be down there. I'm gonna put it all the way up in A tier because I really do like that card a lot. But yeah, I think Parasol Lady sits firmly like right here. There's something about those colors, like the rainbow and the rain, and it's just like it's such a gorgeous artwork. I don't know. There's something about it that I just really love. And next we have another set of cards. Let's see here. Boss's Orders. We're getting a bunch of pretty good ones here. So the Boss's Orders by Hungry Clicker. This card is cool. I like Getsus a lot. I think Getsus definitely deserves something. But again, the trainer alt arts are just not as interesting as the Pokemon alt arts to me, and that has nothing to do against these artists. I really love these artworks a lot. Um, it's just really hard for me to say that I like a trainer more than I like a Pokemon for some reason, and I don't know if that's a bad thing. I prefer it over the Iron Boulder. I prefer it over the Charizard, but I think this is about where it stops at like C tier. Unfortunately, I think that the card looks really nice. And I like Getsus as a character. I like the chess pieces he's like plotting or whatever. Um, but I don't know. I don't. It's just like something about it that I don't think it beat a Pokemon. Salvatore, though, I really like this card a lot by Tetsukayama. I think that Tetsukayama has like a really cool style with like a bunch of like dots that they litter throughout their cards. This card is extremely detailed. There's so many like little cool, fun Easter eggs and stuff like that. And Salvatore is a trainer who I don't think a lot of people really care for, but he got a really nice card in Temporal Forces, and I think that he definitely deserves a little bit of like a higher ranking here. I'll put him like above the C tier Pokemon cards because I think he's a really cool looking trainer, and I actually quite like him. What are we at? Miraidon. So Miraidon from Scarlet and Violet base set. Do I even have to say anything? This card is amazing. I love how Miraidon is outside of a building, looking inside of it, with a Fido looking out, and it's like you get like the interior of the room, but you also have like the exterior of like this like super bright neon city. This one's by Kantaro as well. I think this is like my second, like one of my favorite cards in the entire Scarlet and Violet era. I think it's like one of the coolest looking cards, one of the most beautiful cards, and it's relatively cheap, 15 bucks. It's a box legendary, you know? Like that card is awesome. Penny from Paldean Fates by Aspara. This card is pretty cool. All three of the trainers from Paldean Fates have like, or three of them have their Pokeball in the middle, which is cool. This card features Umbreon on it, which is pretty cool. Not like the most popular card in Paldean Fates because it's not an Umbreon card, it's a penny card. Um, but it's pretty cool. I don't know. It's not like my favorite like alt art card of all time, special illustration or whatever. But I would say that it's like above the Bianca. Um, I would say it's like better than the boss's orders in my opinion. I think it's pretty cool. Um, the Mela from Paradox Rift is pretty cool too. This one's by Rika. I think Rika is an artist who doesn't really get a lot of cards, or they do, but I just don't really remember like which ones specifically they done in the past. But I like this card. I like how Mela is sitting with the Torkoal. I like the Team Star like leader. I like when they get all arts, which is so I'm happy that this card exists, and I like Torkoal a lot. I don't know, there's something about that guy that I just really like. I like how they're like sitting on like a staircase, and there's like some kind of steampunk building next to them, and Torkoal's like steam is coming out of its back. I think this card is really nice, actually. Um, I would say that I prefer it over the Salvatore, actually, which is kind of random. It's kind of weird. I feel like it's weird for me to say that because I don't know. It's just like I feel like I'd never say something like that. Speaking of cards that, well, actually, this doesn't really lead into anything, but I really like the Skeletor Trumpelli evolved by this is also by Kantaro? Yeah, I think I just like Kantaro a lot, like a lot. This card is an S tier for me. I think I love just like the vibe of the card. I love Skeletor a lot as a Pokemon, so that kind of aids into it. Um, but I really love this card a lot. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's something about it that just kind of like screams right to me. Let's see here. Arvin. We got two Arvin cards to review here. So this first one is going to be the one from Paldean Fates. This is, like I said, this one has the Pokeball in the middle. It looks like the main character is like dropping a sandwich all over the place, and then the table's getting messed up with Mavistiff laying underneath. This one's pretty cute. Um, Arvin's a cool trainer. I really like how they made Arvin look in this card. I think he looks really cool actually in terms of like his character design. I think it looks really, really good in this card. Um, I think it's better than the penny. I put it like right here, maybe above the Salvatore. I think it's a really cool looking card for sure. And Meowscarada from Paldea Evolved by Koki Saito. So Koki Saito is a very, very like famous artist in terms of like their accolades because they've illustrated many, many cards in the past. This one's cool. Again, another storyline card. So the starters were all storyline cards in Paldea Evolved, which is pretty cool. Um, yeah, I think this card is pretty nice. I like how it's like looking back at the camera. I like the like glimmer on the leaf, and then I like how it's like standing on top of a tree. It's pretty cool, looking over a city. Meowscarada is not my personal favorite starter or anything, but I think it's definitely good enough to break into this B tier. Excuse me. But I think it like sits comfortably at the bottom of B tier. Next is the Golisopod from Paradox Rift. So this Golisopod is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. I love bug types, so I have a very, very clear bias there. But this one is also done by an artist that I really like. So so I really like this card a lot. I love the artist that did the artwork. I love the Pokemon a lot, and I love the environment. I like how it's like an underwater ship or something like that. I think that's a really cool idea. This card is high A tier, or like low A tier, sorry, not high A tier. There's a lot of blue in my A tier and S tier. Like I'm noticing there's a lot of blue cards. Probably because blue is my favorite color, so that might have something to do with it. Next we have the Arvin, also by Kantaro. This one is pretty cool. This one's from Scarlet and Violet base set, so it's a little bit different than the one from Paldean Fates. I think I prefer the one from Paldean Fates a little bit more. Um, I think Arvin looks perfectly fine in this card, but I don't know. I think that the other one has a lot of personality, so I don't know. I just kind of prefer it a little bit more. I think it's not as good as the Roaring Moon. I think that's where I'd put it. And Bianca is gonna have to move down to D tier. So you see, my D tier is only trainers. It's not that I hate them or anything. I just prefer the Pokemon cards personally. Next, we have the Grusha. Okay, so when I was just saying just now that I prefer the Pokemon cards, this is an exception. So Grusha is a cool trainer. This card is beautiful. It's by Dom. It has Starly in it, so that counts as a Pokemon. I really like this card a lot, and I think it's in my S tier. This is gonna be the only, probably the only trainer to even scratch A tier because I think it's just like one of the coolest cards. I think it's one. Okay, maybe it's not in the S tier, but it's one of the coolest cards in my opinion. I just love like the light colors. I love like a soft vibe. Um, I think this card is fantastic. I mean, for $10, you're really not going to get a better one. I just recently like bounced up a little bit from 10.49 to 11.34. So if you're okay with spending like a dollar extra, I would be okay with that too. Because this card is really, really cool. And I really like Grusha as a trainer a lot. Very like underrated character, I guess. Um, Did I already? Oh, okay, cool. So we're going to be talking about some really cool ones right now. Professor Turo's scenario from Paradox Rift. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I just prefer Professor Turo to Professor Sada, and it has absolutely nothing to do against either of them. Um, well, I guess it has nothing to do against Professor Sada, but I just prefer Professor Turo. Look at these like really cool like futuristic techie things, and then you have like the Cyclozar on the right looking over. This is done by Atsushi Furusawa, who's a really, really cool artist who does a lot of really, really cool cards. I think this card is. I like it more than the Iono, but I don't like it more than the Gardevoir. Actually, I do. I actually like the Gardevoir more than the Venusaur. Mm, put that here. This is really like changing around a lot. But Professor Turo is a cool guy, so I'll put that there. Next, we have the Tapu Koko from Paradox Rift by Jerky. So Jerky does another alt art later in the list that I don't like nearly as much as this one. This is one of my favorite alt arts in the whole entire Scarlet and Violet era, and I'm definitely biased because I really love Tapu Koko a lot. But this card I think looks amazing. Like I love the colors on this card so much. I have it. I'm holding it right now in person because I have it in like a stack over here. But this card is really, really cool. I mean, there's just something about the colors that just really pop. I love Tapu Koko as a Pokemon, because Gen 7 is pretty nostalgic for me. Um, and yeah, I mean, like the colors are fantastic. They're on point. You have like this, like it's like a vapor wave kind of feel, which is a really cool like idea and a vibe for a Pokemon, which is I don't think ever been done before. Clearly not. Like I mean, it stands out amongst a lot of other cards, so that's pretty awesome. Sandy Shocks from Paradox Rift is illustrated by Toshino Aoki. So this is what I was talking about when I said I think I prefer the Iron Hands over some of the other ones. Sandy Shocks is okay. Not my favorite card. Toshino Aoki is perfectly fine illustrator. I think they're doing a really great job nowadays. But I don't know how I feel about Sandy Shocks. I'm kind of torn on it because I remember I used to like it a lot. I'm sorry, Sandy Shocks. It's nothing against you. I swear it's nothing against you. Pidgeot from Obsidian Flames by Jerky. So this is again, this is what I'm talking about. So this is a direct comparison between these two cards, and I think that the Tapu Koko is like far superior in color choice and shading and the Pokemon decision. I don't know, man. I just Pidgeot. It's not that I hate it. Again, it's just like it kind of falls flat in like amidst a bunch of other really beautiful artworks. But I think that the artist Jerky is perfectly awesome. They're perfectly capable of making a card that I really, really like. Like for example, let me show you one of their other cards that I really like. So, for example, they did the Luminion from Crown Zenith. This is one of their first cards. This card is awesome. I would definitely put that one in like A tier or S tier even. I just don't personally like the Pidgeot too much. We have the Koraidon from Scarlet and Violet base set by Ryota Murayama, who also did the Roaring Moon. But I think that I prefer this one over the Roaring Moon. I like Koraidon as a Pokemon a little bit more than Roaring Moon. I don't know. I just really like this card a lot. I think it has like a very good vibe, and it's from Scarlet and Violet base set. It's a box art legendary, and I think that that's got something to be said about it for sure. It has like a little bit of like a bias because it's just like it's like the first alt art of the first legendary from the Scarlet and Violet era, which is really cool. And then we have the Giovanni's Charisma from 151. This card is really underrated. I feel like it's the cheapest card in 151, but I think I like it more than the Erica for sure. I really like how Giovanni looks in this card. He's just looking on at the distance, holding a Pokeball while he's holding the Persian, and then there's like also a Master Ball on his desk. This one's by Hideki Ishikawa. I really like this card a lot, and I think that the colors really pop on it. And I think it's better than the Erica for sure. I like it a good amount. I wouldn't say I like it more than the Arvin. I think Arvin's a good like blockade for like these trainer cards for sure. But I definitely think it's in the B tier. But I don't know. I just think it's not like one of my top cards of all time or anything. Next we have the Dendra from Paldea Evolved by Ghidorah. Dendra is not really a very memorable trainer, in my opinion. And this card is pretty cool. They're drinking from like a water fountain, but I don't prefer it over a lot of these other cards. I would say that I don't prefer it over the penny. It's like at this point I can kind of know where I'm putting these cards. Squawkabilly from Paldea Evolved is pretty cool. I like how they're like fighting in the background, and this is by an artist that doesn't really do all arts, by America Art. I think it's like their first alternate art card, but I do kind of like it. I think it's pretty cute. And I really don't like Squawkabilly as a Pokemon, but I just like the artwork of the card. We have Clive from Paldean Fates. So this is when you do a trainer right. I think that this card is like one of my favorite trainer cards for no reason other than I just like all the additions. There's so many additions. It has like a bunch of different Pokemon in it. Hoppip, Sylveon, Fletchling, Lechonk. You got Charcadet. Um, there's a Psyduck, and then there's also a little the little belly bull. I don't remember what it's called. Tad Dadbulb, right? Um, yeah, and then this card is just really cool. I think it's like a nice looking trainer card for sure. Um, but yeah, I think it's better than the Arven. But it's not as good as the Morty's Conviction for sure. Look how many trainers are right here. Clive is done. So you have the Tulip from Paradox Rift. This is by Akira Gawa. This one also features Dendra in it. I think Dendra looks really good in this card. I like think that Tulip looks really good in this card, and they're doing makeup, so not really my forte because I'm a man. But it is a pretty cool looking alt art, and I needed it for my personal collection because it's an Akira Gawa card. So I have bias, but I will put it below the Arven from Scarlet and Violet base set. Nemona, where's Nemona on the next page? Yes, okay. So I will close these tabs really quickly. Sorry, I know this is kind of taking a little bit of time. Nemona from Paldean Fates. This one's jumping around with a Pawmi. This is by the same artist that did the other two, so you have like the Pokeball in the middle, which is cool. This is the first like alternate art for Nemona, which is interesting. Um, not as good as the Penny, not as good as the Boss's Orders, not as good as the Dendra. I think Dendra is a little bit worse than these two actually. Um, Wochen by Takuyoa. Takuyoa does like regular EX cards a lot, which is pretty cool that they got an alt art because I don't think that they would have got one. And it's a Pokemon like Wochen. I really like the colors. The green is very nice. It's very satisfying. I think that the like roots and stuff like that is a pretty cool touch too. And the Pokemon is in perfect focus because of the sunlight that like blasts onto it as it sits in the background. So it's still like focus, and I think that the card looks pretty cool. So I will put it in B tier, above the Meowscarada, but not above the Squawkabilly. Actually, yeah, above the Squawkabilly. Next, we have the Ting-Lu from Paldea Evolved as well. I really like this card. It's by Keiichiro Ito. I really love the sky in the background. I love how like the craggy like mesa cliffs are in the back, and it's like excuse me, it's like breaking the ground underneath it, like as it steps and it looks back, like it's like rupturing the ground, and you have like cracks in the ground and holes that are forming like craters. This card is really underrated and really, really cool, and I prefer it over the Chien-Pao. I think it's like honestly top of B tier. I know that's kind of a weird pick because it's so cheap, right? It's like what is it, $7.46 compared to these cards that are what, like 30, 40 bucks. But I think that this card stands out amongst a crew of a lot of other cards. Speaking of cards that stand out, the Rika. Actually, I don't know if the Rika does stand out now that I think about it, but this card is pretty cool. It's by Kantaro as well. So you get a lot of these special illustration artists by this one artist. I like how it's like standing by a car. That's kind of cool. It's holding a popsicle, or they're holding a popsicle. There's something about their legs that look a little bit too long to me. I like how there's like an office in the background though. It's like very detailed. You have like the plants growing. You have like the flowers as well. And then I don't know where they're going, but they're going somewhere. Rika's pretty cool. Um, I might put it like below the Salvatore. Yeah, I think that that's fine. I like it. I like it a good amount. Actually, I'll put it like the top of C tier. Um, So we're moving. We're like we're about to finish already. So this I know that this took a long time. Oh, I forgot to add one. I forgot to add a couple of them actually into the list. Dang. One second. I'll be right back. I have to add these into the list because I totally forgot to do it. Sorry. One second. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I had to find these cards wherever they were. Firstly, we have the Penny from Scarlet and Violet base set by Okacheke. So this card is cool. I really like the sun rays. I think I prefer it over the other Penny. I just like the colors a lot, and I think that the card is really like it's cute, um, and it's pretty cool. Um, I think Penny's a cool trainer. Not like the most cool trainer of all time or anything, but I think that it's a cool looking artwork of a decent trainer. And I think it's definitely better than the one from the other set. Just because I like the colors a little bit more. It's a little bit more simple. I think it goes in this like big meld of trainers that we got going on, but I think it's better than the Clive. And I think Arvin and Penny should be right next to each other. Next is Giacomo from Paul Day Evolved by Kiyotaka Oshiyama. I'm a big fan of Oshiyama's work. I really love a lot of the cards that they've done, so I have a very clear bias here. I really like the big screen in the background. I like how Giacomo is like looking at like some papers as he's eating a hot dog. And I just think I love the vibe of this card. And I like I said, I like the Team Star All Arts quite a bit. I would put it like right here, right next to Professor Turo's scenario. That's kind of hard. The B tier is filled with a lot of cool trainers, but the separation has to be made somewhere, right? Next we have the Great Tusk from Scarlet and Violet base set by Pani Kobayashi. I really like the sky in this one. The sky is immaculate. I mean, there's so much detail in it. Really, really cool. And I like how Great Tusk is standing on some sand and it's like rupturing the sand all around it. The the like branches and stuff like that is a really cool touch. I think that this card is severely underrated. Great Tusk is obviously not the most popular Pokemon or anything like that, but I think that the card looks super, super nice. Um, I would put it like, maybe even above the Tinkaton. Just look at that sky. You can see it even in the preview. It's just like so dynamic. I would put it at like the bottom of B tier. I don't know. I just really dig that card a lot. We have Jacques from base set Scarlet and Violet. This card is really cool. It's really cute. It's by Oswaldo Cato. I really like how Jacques is just sleeping on the job as he's got like a bunch of like hundreds and thousands of books like sitting all around him. You've got like the window drapes like blowing away in the wind, and then you have like the sun peeking through as Jacques is just sleeping on the job. This card is really, really cute. I really like it a lot. Um, and I don't like it as much as the Iono, but I just really like the card a lot, and it really gives me it brings back really good memories of Scarlet and Violet base set because I have a lot of nostalgia for that set. Just because it was the first, I was the first era that I started, so yeah, just have a little bit of nostalgia for that one. I don't have nostalgia for the Seguro though. I kind of forgot that it existed, which is why I didn't even put it on the list at all. It has Jigglypuff in it, and this trainer is perfectly fine. Sonosuke Sakuma is a really good artist. They do a lot of really nice looking cards. It has Squovid in it, and then it has Delibird. Yeah, I mean, it's cute. They're washing their hands. They're getting ready to prep food, which is cool. Seguro is definitely not one of my favorite trainers. Uh, I put it down here. I like it. It's not that I hate it or anything like that. It's just the trainer itself is just not really like dragging me into the card particularly, so I have like bias against that. Um, but he's definitely not a bad artist. Sonosuke Sakuma is a very good artist, but it's just the card itself. I just don't prefer it. But we are moving into some very controversial takes here. So the Spidops EX from Scarlet and Violet base set by Miki Tanaka is genuinely one of my favorite cards in the entire Scarlet and Violet era. I think about it a lot because I have it in my personal collection and I have it in my master set or complete set for Scarlet and Violet base set. Um, and I'm really happy that I do have it because I really like this card a lot. I love Spidops. I don't know why. There's something about his design that really calls to me. I like spiders, like the spider Pokemon like Ariados, Galvantula, stuff like that. And I think that this card just really calls to me. And I kind of love Miki Tanaka's simplistic style a lot, and it's really grown on me over the years. Oh, not over the years. It's not like I've been doing this for many years, but I don't know. I love this card a lot, and I think I like it more than the Koraidon. I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna do something super controversial here and put it below the Bubble Mew. I know that is a very controversial thing to do. Maybe not actually. Goes here, like right here, right next to the Altaria. I think that's okay. And then it's just like I said, it's just my opinion. Don't get too mad. But yeah, I really like the Spidops a lot. Iron Treads from Scarlet and Violet base set by Keiichiro Ito. I like how it's like a nebula in the background with the Pokemon in the front, and the dunes. The Pokemon is very much so in focus in this card, which is kind of cool because you have like this one that is super in focus, and then you have like the Great Tusk, which is not really in focus. The nebula in the background is a super cool touch. I don't know, it's cool. I don't know what else to say. I think it's just a cool looking card, but it's not my favorite card by any means. Um, okay, so Quaquaval, oh boy. I love the Quaquaval alt art. Okay, so this card is I have bad memories of it, unfortunately. We um were opening Paldea Evolved. Me and somebody else were opening Paldea Evolved a lot. Try to get this stupid card out of here. I'm really glad that we were selling it when we did because it was $10 at its peak. And it's just sat at the $5 mark. And Quaquaval is my least favorite of the Gen 9 starters. Soichiro Gunjima is a really fantastic artist, and I think that the vibe of this card is cool. I like how it's like inside of a house, but and I also like how it's like grows up and it gets more like cleaning products and like whatever because it's like a beauty Pokemon or whatever. Yikes, though. I don't know. It's just it's nothing against the card itself. I don't hate it or anything. I just prefer many of these other beautiful illustrations that we have on our list here. But the Rev Room is cool. I think the Rev Room is better than the Quaquaval. This one's also by Shoichiro Gunjima, so hey, I don't have a bias against against this artist. I actually do like this artist, and I think that this card is really cool. Just unfortunate that it's an Obsidian Flames because the only expensive card in Obsidian Flames is the Charizard, of course. But I kind of think it's pretty cool. I think that this Charizard is a little bit too low. I think that's fine. Um, But yeah, I think the Rev Room is pretty cool. I'll just put it like right here. Not above the Tinkaton though. Actually, the Tinkaton is way too low. I don't know. It goes like it goes at the top of C tier. Um, Gita though. Gita by Dom by from Obsidian Flames. This card is a $2 alt art and the card is beautiful. I mean, this is a cool trainer. Like it's just a really beautiful looking artwork and I just really love this card a lot and I think I would definitely put it in the B tier for sure. I know our B tier is really stacked with a lot of cards, but that's because, hey, I think most tier lists B tiers are very stacked, for the most part. We have two more cards to talk about. So the Ice Cube from Obsidian Flames is one of the most controversial alt arts to ever exist, I would say, honestly. This one's by Toshino Aoki. I think that some of their other cards are just a little bit better. Um, and yeah, I think it might be my least favorite all art from Scarlet and Violet. And like, I don't have anything against Toshino Aoki at all. I like their artwork a lot. I like a lot of the cards that they've done. The Unknown V all art from Silver Tempest is like one of my favorite cards of all time. Um, but yeah, it's just I don't like Ice Cube. I don't understand why he really got at alt art in Obsidian Flames. I just don't like Ice Cube that much at all. And that's just like a me thing. I don't think Terra Fire Ice Cube is really like turning a lot of heads. Just unfortunate that Toshino really got a card like a Pokemon like that. Poppy's cool though. Poppy's from Obsidian Flames. This one's by Ryoto Murayama. I think that this artwork is pretty cool. I like how Poppy's riding on top of Copperajah, but it is not my favorite artwork of all time. But I will put it at the top of D tier. And yeah, that's my tier list on all the Scarlet and Violet era EX alt arts or SARs, SIRs or whatever. There's like 5,000 different words that you could call it. Little touch-ups to this list. I think that my S tier is perfectly fine. I don't think I would change anything about my S tier, honestly. Maybe like the individual placements, but I think that the list overall is perfectly fine in terms of S tier. A tier, there's nothing egregious in the A tier. B tier, I would say that everything here in the B tier deserves to be in the B tier to some extent. I know that during the list I was moving the Venusaur down a lot. It's not because I didn't like the Venusaur, it's just because Charizard alt art is a little bit too low in my opinion. It's just I don't know. I kind of have a little bit of a vendetta against Charizard, but I think the Charizard artwork so far in the Scarlet and Violet era have been pretty cool. Um, Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised personally myself that the Roaring Moon is so low. I remember I kind of enjoyed the card quite a bit, but I think compared to a lot of these other artworks, it just doesn't stack up as much as I really hoped it would. This card is a little bit too high. But yeah, I think that's my list actually, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is a really long video, so I'm sorry you don't have to watch the whole thing. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, leave a like, and I'll catch you in the next one.